Chinelo's tears flowed as she pleaded with Okay, her husband, but his resolve remained unyielding. Despite her desperate appeals, he remained stubborn. Then, in a sudden shift, wiping away her tears, she fixed her gaze upon Udoka, her eyes filled with determination. "If you refuse to comply with my request," she declared, "I will expose your secret to the entire world." Ikim and Chino had been married for 5 prosperous years, yet their happiness was marred by the absence of children. In the 5th year of their union, Chino's worst fears materialized as Ikim expressed his desire for a second wife. Distraught, she implored him for more time, but his decision was firm. "My dear wife," he reasoned, "our wealth is abundant, but without an heir, who will inherit it all?" Realizing that Ikim was resolute, Chino devised a solution. If another wife must enter their home, she would choose her herself. To her surprise, Ikim acquiesced, his only concern being the prospect of fathering a child. The following day, Chino sought out her best friend Udoka with a proposition. She intended to ask Udoka to become Ikim's second wife. However, Udoka's immediate rejection shattered Chino's hopes. "How could you ask such?" Udoka exclaimed, refusing to entertain the idea. "I am betrothed to Chidera, and even if I were not, I would never marry your husband." Chinelo persisted, tears streaming down her face, but Udoka remained steadfast. Faced with Udoka's unwavering refusal, Chino resorted to threats, revealing Udoka's secret status as an Osu, an outcast to the world. Udoka recoiled at the threat, never anticipating that her closest friend would use her own secrets against her. Udoka and her family were Osu, ostracized in their community and treated as inferiors. Fleeing their village to escape discrimination, they had kept their status hidden. Chino's ultimatum left Udoka shaken. Aware of the consequences her family would face if their secret were exposed, she reluctantly agreed to Chino's demand. Later that evening, she visited Chino, assuring her of her Overjoyed, Chino embraced her friend, expressing gratitude and apologizing for resorting to such drastic measures. As the wedding rites were completed, Udoka became Ikim's second wife. 3 months later, Chino fell ill, prompting a visit from the village herbalist. After examining her, he delivered joyful news. She was pregnant. While Ikim celebrated, Chino's joy was tinged with regret. She now regretted her haste in involving Udoka in their marriage and resolved to ask her to leave. She couldn't bear to share Ikim any longer, especially now that she was carrying. However, her plans were dashed when, the next day, the herbalist unexpectedly encountered Udoka returning from the market. His words echoed with a sense of impending joy as he remarked to Ikim, "It seems there will be a double celebration in your household." Upon learning of Okay's pregnancy, jealousy and resentment consumed Chinelo. She couldn't shake the feeling of rivalry, envisioning her own child competing with Okay's 4E's favor and inheritance. Determined to address this perceived threat, Chinelo confronted Okay, urging her to leave with her unborn baby. However, their conversation was overheard by E, who issued a stern warning to Chino. If any harm befell Okay or her. Faced with E's threats, Chinelo had no choice but to tolerate Okay's presence. However, this did not stop her from mistreating Okay. Whenever Okay attempted to voice her grievances, Chinelo would brandish the threat of exposing Okay's status as an Osu, an outcast in their community. Despite Okay's efforts to appease Chinelo, hoping for peace in their home, Chinelo's resentment only grew. Months passed, and both women gave birth to their babies on the same day. However, Chinelo remained unwell after childbirth, leaving Udoka, Okay's daughter, to care for both infants. Even after Chinelo recovered, she showed no gratitude for Udoka's kindness. Instead, she became even more callous towards her co-wife. Life became increasingly unbearable for Okay, especially when he suffered a stroke 6 years after their daughters were born. Unable to defend herself, Okay endured Chinelo's mistreatment in silence. One day, Chinelo witnessed Okay's daughter, Anyuri, playing with her own daughter. Enraged by jealousy, Chinelo violently attacked Anyuri with a stick, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. Now, in addition to enduring Chinelo's abuse, Udoka faced the challenge of caring for a paralyzed daughter. Years later, a young medical doctor named James arrived in their community, offering free medical services. Upon seeing Isa, he was immediately drawn to her and expressed his desire to marry her. Chinelo, in her cruelty, taunted Udoka about Isa's impending marriage to James, contrasting it with her own daughter's supposed prospect. As the wedding rites were completed and and Chinelo bid farewell to James and Isa at the seaport, Udoka's pent-up emotions erupted. She jubilantly declared Oke's newfound freedom, celebrating the fact that she would no longer endure Chinelo's tyranny. Confused by Udoka's outburst, Chinelo demanded an explanation, only to be met with a shocking revelation. Udoka revealed that she had switched their daughters at birth, ensuring that Isa, her own daughter, would have a chance at a better life free from oppression. Devastated by this revelation, Chinelo was left reeling. Despite caring for both infants from birth, she never imagined Udoka capable of such an act. Overwhelmed by guilt and despair, Chinelo watched as Udoka walked into the sea, choosing death over a life of suffering. Paralyzed by fear and remorse, Chinelo followed suit, succumbing to the depths of the ocean. The moral of this tragic tale echoes the wisdom found in the book of Proverbs. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. It serves as a cautionary reminder of the consequences of sharing intimate secrets and placing undue trust in others. In a world where deceit and betrayal abound, it is essential to guard one's tongue and exercise discernment in friendships. This story also underscores the importance of recognizing warning signs of malevolence in others. Ignoring such signs can lead to dire consequences, as evidenced by the tragic fate of Chinelo and Udoka. Therefore, it is crucial to heed these warnings and prioritize genuine, trustworthy relationships. In conclusion, may this tale serve as a poignant reminder to tread carefully in matters of trust and friendship, and to always be vigilant against the seeds of wickedness that may lurk within. Let us learn from the mistakes of Chinelo and Udoka, and strive to cultivate relationships built on honesty, integrity, and mutual respect.